You're listening to the Holistic Spaces podcast brought to you by Mindful Design Feng Shui School, episode 138 Common Bedroom Feng Shui Mistakes. Welcome to episode 138 of the Holistic Spaces podcast, where we hope to inspire, educate, and empower you to create your own holistic spaces that nurture and resonate with you. Angie Cho and Laura Morris are the founders of the Mindful Design Feng Shui School. Together, they have over 3 decades of experience designing harmonious living spaces. Laura and Angie have guided thousands of people to shift their energy and revitalize their lives. Mindful Design School offers feng shui courses and certifications. Check us out at mindfuldesignschool.com. So, welcome everyone. We were inspired to do this episode because we just finished a free webinar. So if you were on our list, you got invited to a free webinar. What did I always forget the name though?
Yeah, it's called Feng Shui Your Bedroom, Colors, Crystals, and Plants.
Yeah. So we hope you went to that and we were inspired to share more about the bedroom because it's so important when it comes to feng shui. And if you did miss it and you're a newbie or you're not on our list, make sure you get on our list because we'll make sure that our team puts it on our next newsletter, right? A link to the recording of that workshop that we did. The free it's totally free.
Yeah, it's totally free and good content. And it works well with this podcast that we're going to talk about today, which is feng shui do's and don'ts for the bedroom. Mistakes. We're not gonna scare anyone. We're gonna make it all as we usually do. We never want to scare you guys, so we always give you the straight goods, and we keep it super accessible. So when we say mistakes, we mean things that maybe you want to avoid. We'll take it. I'll be a little bit later on that. And so we just said we'll do them as do's and don'ts, and give them a spin that is always something you can work with, because we don't want to ever make you guys feel like you can't figure this out, because you can. It's either a pretty straightforward fix, which we're going to talk about today, or if you're in doubt, again, work with a consultant, work with a qualified consultant, and you can go to our website and find all of our grads and our consultants there too if you want to work with someone. So Angie, we'll go back and forth on this, I guess.
Yeah. Do you want to start?
Sure. Okay. So the first do or don't of the bedroom is do place your bed in the commanding position. So we were going through and I actually realized that we talk about this a lot, but we actually don't have a podcast just on it. I mean, we do. I think it's
No,
quite
we
from a while ago. Yeah, it's from a
It's
while
like
ago,
one of the
before me.
first podcasts. It's pre Laura.
Pre Laura. Okay. So then it's not good. Just kidding. Just kidding.
It's there. We're actually we're redoing all the intros for our older episodes, so it may or may not be available at the time that you're listening to this. But be sure to look, and we talk about this a lot, so we'll be sure to maybe highlight it again in a future episode.
Yeah. So let's go over it. So again, it's a concept that is really simple and seems kind of like duh, no kidding. But you would be surprised how often people have their bedroom set in a way that when they're lying in bed, trying to relax, trying to recuperate, trying to rest, that if they were lying in bed, they can't see the main entry or the door to their bedroom. And so being able to see that door is called the command or commanding position. And it gives you a sense of ease. Even if you don't like feel it right away, trust us, it's there. It is this deep sense of, ease, control. You can see what's coming. And, if you aren't in this position, it's actually a nice exercise to see if you can shift it, because it's such a simple fix. We're going to talk about it, that it might be nice to see what shifts in your life, because, when you're not in command, things like you can be a little bit more anxious. Things just keep coming up, the same kind of recurring problems that you can't seem to get ahead of, or you're missing stuff. Like you're always like one step behind knowing, the next, these opportunities that come your way. So, this is something that is a foundational concept in feng shui that is really about will help you protect yourself and make you feel more secure in your space. So if your bed is not in command, first thing is best thing to do is move it. If you can move your bed, move your bed. So um sometimes people say they can't move it, or it's whether we've said this before, can you move it or you don't want to move it? You're going to have to figure that out. But if you can move it, we recommend you do that. If you aren't able to move your bed, you can place a mirror in your bedroom that allows you to reflect the door. So essentially, you're lying in bed, you would put a mirror somewhere. It doesn't have to be a big mirror. And it can be a small convex mirror, something that captures the image of the door itself, and it moves the door into command. So because now you can see that reflection, therefore you can see the door. So, you can use a mirror to do that. However, it is always best if you can and the space allows it, try to move your bed, see how that feels.
Yep. Now, the second thing is don't have your feet pointing out the bedroom door. Now, this is actually connected and a part of the commanding position. It's you want to be able to see the door, but not be directly in line with the door, right? So when you're directly in line with the door, another way to describe it is your feet are pointing straight out the door. And you may have heard it called, quote unquote, a coffin position. So I used to not use that term, but I just because people understand it better and gives a little visual, I am using it at this time, but it does have like a negative connotation. But in any case, part of the commanding position. So you don't want to have your body right in line with the door, because then you will have the energy or the chi coming straight at you, and it can be disruptive. It can affect all of the things that Laura talked about with the commanding position, because it's a part of the commanding position. So um, it's totally understandable if your home is set up in such a way that it's not possible for you to not have your feet pointing out the bedroom door. And if you can, you should always first move your bed. And if that's not possible, you can even it's also not a good idea to, well, maybe it is for you to like you and your partner to only sleep on one side of the bed away from the door. That would be funny. But first you want to move the bed, and if that's not possible, you can also set up a feng shui crystal ball halfway between where your feet are when they point out towards the door, and the door. So halfway between the edge of the bed where your feet are and the door. And um, just to be a little bit more clear, you actually hang a feng shui crystal ball, which is a faceted crystal ball. It's not like a quartz crystal, but it's made of glass, like crystal glass. And you should have something that's at least 40 millimeters in diameter, not like a little dinky one. And if possible, you want to buy a higher quality crystal because it's more refractive, has more clarity. Because if you get like a really cheap $5 one, then it's usually just glass, and it's not as refractive, and it doesn't work as well energetically as crystals do, right? And then you want to hang it from the ceiling generally. That's the simplest way to explain it, unless you're working with the consultant. Hang it from the ceiling down halfway between the bed, your feet, and the door. And I know this should go without saying, but don't set it up so that you hit it when the door opens and closes. You want to have it clear the door. So generally, we recommend it be like maybe 9 inches or 18 inches down from the ceiling, but it depends on how high your ceilings are. So use your judgment, but it should be around the height of the door. You can also just align it with the top of your door.
Yep. Good. Next one.
Oh, and a little plug. Oh, we'll do 2
Mm,
plugs. One plug is that we sell those at the Holistic Spaces
yep.
store, the feng shui crystal balls. And um, the second little plug is that we wanted to remind you that our certification program, if this stuff really intrigues you
Mm-hmm.
and you're really into feng shui and you want to learn all the things, then check out our courses and certifications at mindfuldesignschool.com.
Yep. And we actually have an info session happening in a couple days for those of you listening to it today. Go on there and you'll see.
Yeah.
Go to our website. Okay. So next one is don't make it harder for your partner or your potential partner if you're not partnered up yet and you want to bring someone in. And what we mean by don't make it harder is take a look, and is your bed either pushed up against a wall or very close to a wall? You would be surprised again how often we see this, um, especially for people that are single. They are optimizing space, and we get that, and they will push it up against a wall to make so they have more space in their bedroom. Now, not saying this is a bad thing. You can live with this. This is if that is what you want to do, but we're just going to talk to you a little bit about what that means from a feng shui standpoint. So, if the left or the right side of the bed, so it depends, is up against that wall, this can create imbalances in because one side is yin, one side is yang, or masculine or feminine energies. So, think about that. You know, are you limiting yourself in that way? Also, it means that your partner or potential partner has a lot of trouble getting into bed. Like you're making it more difficult than it needs to be for that partner to get into the bed. So give that some thought, especially if you're single and you're actively looking for a partner and your bed is in this position. Maybe you want to ask yourself why that is, because what it means is you're really not inviting it or opening it up for someone to easily get in that other side. So, if possible, if you have the room, move it away, adjust your space, create some space between the wall and the bed. Or, if you've got a really big bed, maybe you've got a king bed in a room that's just not really meant for that. And you and your partner are like squeezing in or one of you doesn't even get its own side. Maybe you need to give that some thought too. So find a bed that fits the room better. But if you have the space, and this resonates with you, especially if you're single and you've got that, and you know who you are out there and you're like, oh my gosh, that's me. See what happens when you pull it out and set the intention to really invite that space for someone else and open it up for them.
Yeah, that said, coming from a New York City perspective, and by the way, I think Laura and I could probably do a whole episode on this, talking about the different ways that this affects you and what we've seen. But if I've been to lots of New York City apartments where they're even if you do have a smaller bed, like a full size bed, it there's just no room, and so you do the best you can with what you have. And a consultant can work with your specific situation to see how to creatively work this out. But what you don't want to do if you're looking for a partner is get a single bed, because then I think it speaks for itself. There's no room for a partner. So again, it's about don't make it harder for your partner or potential partner. So if two of you are sleeping in a twin bed, that's pretty difficult. If you're in a twin bed on your own, that's pretty difficult to invite a partner. So there's a lot of things to balance out in this situation.
Yeah.
Um,
And, having said the other side, if you want to just focus on yourself and you really don't, then you're good. Like, you know,
yeah.
I mean, yes, there's something to be said for having the chi being able to flow around from both those yin and those yang sides of the bed. But, if you're really focused on yourself, but if you're looking for a partner, give it some thought, take a look
Yeah.
at what you got going on.
But actually, I think like if you're not looking for a partner, maybe switch to the twin bed and have the open space. Because I think that over time, if you sleep with, there is something to like the yin and yang side of your body. And if it's up against the wall for like 50 years or
Hmm.
20 years or 10 years, actually, there can be it can affect your masculine or feminine sides. However, it depends on the person. So,
Hmm.
all right, let's move on. The next one is do give yourself the support you need. And what we mean by that is a headboard. So, a solid headboard and a headboard in general, like a real headboard that is fastened to your bed, is really a feng shui do, because it gives you support. It gives you support and also provides support for you and your partner or your potential partner, your future partner. And it's so funny how I have one of my good friends who's been on the podcast a few times, Katie Dalbout. She texted me the other day and she's like, "Guess what? I finally got a headboard." And but that's code for I'm finally ready to support myself and also support what's needed so I can find a supportive partner in my life, right?
Mhm.
So I can't wait to hear about that. I think I'll be on her podcast soon to talk about it, but that's a big one. And people love to come up with their excuses for that, and that's fine.
Mhm.
You'll get it when you're ready.
Yeah. And there's lots of flexibility on what that headboard can be like, but it's best if it's really just fastened securely. I think that's the most important thing. So, find
Yes.
something that works for you. There's lots of flexibility there in terms of what it can look like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the last one we're going to talk about today is it was a don't, and then I didn't like the way, so it would be either don't have a big mirror facing your bed, but instead I'm going to reword it for do consider whether it's very long, whether a big mirror facing the bed works for you. So I don't want to say that the reason is that it's kind of a nuanced thing. So we get this question a lot, and it's because not all schools of feng shui feel the same about a mirror in the bed room, like in the bedroom at a whole, especially, not all schools of feng shui agree on whether or not that mirror should face the bed and whether or not that's a problem or not. So, in black sect and BTB feng shui, we use mirrors, as you heard, to place your bed in command. But, there's a lot of nuances on how you can use that. It can be a small convex mirror. It can be a mirror that's kind of out of the way. It doesn't have to be a big floor length mirror. But even if it is a big floor length mirror, sometimes that works and it's not disruptive for you. So this is where everybody's chi is a little bit different, and everybody's sleeping situation and how they sleep and their comfort level is different. So you need to. So when I'm working with clients with this situation, first question is, how do you sleep? Do you do you wake up frequently in the night? And do you have problems? And if that's the case, then I would recommend that the mirror facing the bed would be something that you would move, because it is possibly disrupting you. There's other people that sleep like a log and they don't care, and it's so then we would use a bigger mirror to put yourself into command, or however we're doing it in a design situation. So I think, yes, sometimes it can be disruptive if there's problems sleeping, but you have to do what feels best for you. Now,
Yes.
we also see those mirrored closet doors, and those are intense because that's a lot. Those are big mirrors. And if you don't like those, there's lots of solutions you can do, but that removable frosting film on either at least a portion of it could help, especially where you're really close to it, for the reflection, to diminish the reflection.
Yeah. And I would also say if you've done a lot of random internet searching, reading on the internet about feng shui, and then have gotten paranoid about the mirror in
Mhm.
the bedroom, then you've already it's a very clear answer. The
Mhm.
answer is that you've created your own negative energy around it. So just keep it really simple. Don't make it into a big drama. Remove it. But also it's about considering what you doing the best you can with what you have. So
Mhm.
if so remove it if you're uncomfortable with it. If it hasn't bothered you ever, then leave it.
Yeah.
And if you are uncomfortable with it and you don't know what to do and you can't move it, then
You can cover
you
it.
can fix it. Yeah,
You can
cover it
cover
with
it.
yep.
Yeah.
We
So
just don't want to make it into, it doesn't need to be a
no.
bigger negative issue than it
No.
needs to be. Yeah.
Exactly. So ask yourself some questions about how you're sleeping, when you wake up, where it is exactly. Every situation's different. And then if you need to cover it, cover it. Try that out for like 9 nights and see how it feels. But as Angie said, generally when if you send an email about something, let's say to some, or you're, sending a comment somewhere on our Instagram and you're bringing up about something, then it's pretty clear that that's disruptive for you. So you've already got that in your head. And so you can either work to sort of let that go if you feel like you can, take some, do some breathing and know that we've said it's fine and then breathe through it. But if that's not enough, then you absolutely, do what feels best for you and remove that mirror and see how it feels. So,
Yes.
yeah. And that's our five feng shui do's and don'ts for the bedroom. A lot around beds and stuff too.
Yeah. So yeah, and if you are you're interested in learning more about the bedroom, be sure to get on our mailing list because we will share again that free workshop we did about how to apply feng shui to your bedroom. What was it called again? I always forget.
Feng shui your bedroom, colors, crystals, and plants.
Feng shui your bedroom. Exactly. And thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Holistic Spaces podcast. You can listen every Monday for a new episode. And then the next episode is an Ask Angie and Laura. So we hope you'll check it out and be sure you're on our mailing list so you can submit questions for Ask Angie and Laura. And if you like our podcast, please share it with others. And if you'd like to explore the world of holistic spaces and feng shui on an even deeper level, you can visit our website at mindfuldesignschool.com. We have a certification class coming up, a 100-hour, 6-month feng shui consultant certification. And we have some monthly workshops as well. So we hope we'll see you at one. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.